Hi, I'm Ben Ferguson, and welcome to your AMAC Weekly News. First up, alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell from an apparent suicide. But around this death comes some serious irregularities about that night. I'll explain why the Attorney General is now involved in a moment. Second, the Department of Homeland Security and ICE conducted the largest single-state workplace illegal immigration roundup in the nation's history. Now, this coming on top of the fact that the Trump administration also introduced new green card rules and regulations. I'll break all that down for you in just a moment. And finally, good old Joe Biden. He had one heck of an embarrassing weekend on the campaign trail, even claiming that he was the vice president during a time when he was actually not even in office. And that's not the worst part. Some of his other comments are going to leave you flat out stunned. I'll give them to you in just a moment. But first, a quick reminder. If you haven't joined AMAC or renewed your AMAC membership, do it right now so you can continue to receive this new show and access to our amazing member benefits. You also get the incredible AMAC magazine. And most importantly, AMAC represents you and almost 2 million other conservatives on Capitol Hill every day. So make sure that you join or renew today. Your AMAC Weekly News starts right now. News hit Saturday that longtime Clinton associate and registered sex offender Jeffrey Epstein reportedly committed suicide. As more news breaks, so does the reality of the mysterious happenings that all seem to take place in just the right way to end in Epstein's death. For example, one of the guards on duty at the time was actually a substitute, and the other was reportedly not even a corrections officer. Also, new reports show that the guards may have actually been asleep on the job when he killed himself. Attorney General William Barr has taken the lead on this. What we know for sure is that Barr is not happy, and he's determined to get to the bottom of what really happened on the night of Epstein's death. Take a listen to what he had to say at a press conference on CNN.
I was appalled, and indeed the whole department was, and frankly, angry to learn of the MCC's failure to adequately secure this prisoner. We are now learning of serious irregularities at this facility that are deeply concerning and demand a thorough investigation. The FBI and the Office of Inspector General are doing just that. We will get to the bottom of what happened, and there will be accountability.
In fact, new reports are showing that guards at the New York jail facility are suspected of falsifying log entries to show that they were checking on Epstein more than they actually were. The Justice Department said this week that the 2 guards assigned to watch him have now been placed on administrative leave. Now, when the news broke, many started to worry that this might mean the end of the investigation. But no fear. Barr says that, quote, any co-conspirators should not rest easy.
Let me assure you that this case will continue on against anyone who was complicit with Epstein. Any co-conspirators should not rest easy. The victims deserve justice, and they will get it.
Now, clearly the federal government is taking Epstein and all of these allegations extremely seriously. His private island was raided by the FBI, which should lead to more information on what was actually taking place with regard to the sex trafficking allegations. Now, what has made many people even more intrigued is the connection between Epstein and his personal relationship with former President Bill Clinton. A Clinton spokesman has been forced to come out and say that, quote, Mr. Clinton never visited Epstein's island. But Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's alleged victims, has now testified in a civil lawsuit that Epstein once hosted a dinner for former President Clinton on the island. Now, this claim and many others have come out because of more than 2,000 documents that were released. Now, this happened just hours before Epstein's prison suicide. Now, also, regardless of Clinton's claims through his spokesman, there's another investigative journalist, Sanoff, who first broke the Epstein story back in 2010. She has come out and said that Bill Clinton is, quote, not telling the truth. She said in reference to flying on Epstein's plane, quote, I know from the pilot logs that, were written by different pilots at different times, that Clinton went. He was a guest of Epstein's 27 times. Now, that's not all. Many of the times that he traveled with Epstein, he traveled without Secret Service protection. Now, it is clear that Attorney General Barr is going to get to the bottom of how Epstein actually died. It's also clear that the investigation is not going to stop just because of his death. There are many political figures that are extremely nervous about this investigation, and AMAC will make sure that we keep you updated on this breaking news story. DHS and ICE came together to conduct a raid that ended with 680 people being detained in Mississippi. Now, the search warrants executed include administrative search warrants searching for individuals illegally present in the U.S. at 7 sites across the entire state. Now, rather than focusing on the fact that many of these people are here illegally, the mainstream media and liberals have taken to interviewing children whose parents were picked up in the raid. Now, one of those clips has become a viral video. Take a look at this from CNN.
I need my dad for me. My dad didn't do nothing. He's not a criminal. Governments, please put your heart. Let my parents be free with everybody else, please. Don't leave the child with cryness and everything.
Now, after many in the media and the left decided to use and exploit this young girl for their own political narrative, the Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, Mark Morgan, had to react. And he did so in a sit-down interview on CNN. Take a listen.
And so it's not just a victimless crime that's going on here. First of all, they are here illegally, and then a lot of times there's additional fraud that goes with this for them to try to get these jobs in these companies. So I understand that the girl's upset, and I get that. But her father committed a crime. And just so the American people know also, is that girl, her mother was home, and she was reunited with her mother within a few hours that night.
Now, again, let's be clear. Many liberals and many in the media decided to use this little girl to exploit her in the video, regardless of the context, to attack the president for simply enforcing the laws on the books. Let's be honest. Children in this country are separated from their parents when their parents commit crimes and go to jail every single day. Yet, liberal protesters are nowhere to be found when Americans are arrested and Americans are separated from their American children. Not only are far more American children separated from their parents, but when women who give birth incarcerated, well, they take away their children and separate them from them after about 24 hours, or maybe a handful of days, depending on medical conditions. The point is, this is fake outrage. It's clear that this administration is going to enforce the laws, regardless of the liberal media and the activists attacking them for doing it. The Trump administration is also cracking down on rules when it comes to who gets a green card and how they get it. In fact, last week, the rules were issued to strengthen the ability of federal officials to deny green cards to immigrants deemed, quote, likely to rely on U.S. government aid. Now, the USCIS acting director, Ken Cuccinelli, discussed these new rules on Fox News. Take a look.
The rule we issued today, a public charge rule, is intended to once again give meaningful effect to the public charge standard. And what that is in ordinary English for people watching is basically that we try to avoid having immigrants come through our process, come to our country or become green card holders who are likely in the future to become welfare dependent.
The bottom line is the Trump administration is not wrong on this issue. If there is a person who's clearly likely to come into America and become instantly dependent on welfare, we should not grant them access to this great country. We want the best of the best in America. More importantly, why should we, the taxpayers, take on this multi-billion-dollar burden? Now, AMAC is continuing to make sure that your voice as a taxpayer is actually being heard in Washington. We're going to continue to give you the resources that you need to protect your tax dollars from this type of government waste. So in one of the most hilarious moments I've seen in a while, Joe Biden gave us exactly what we wanted, pure comedy and gaffes. In just one weekend, Biden actually said all of the things I'm about to read to you. Number one, poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Number two, we choose truth over facts. Number 3, he even referred to Theresa May as Margaret Thatcher. And finally, all in one weekend, Joe Biden said that he was the vice president of the United States of America during the 2018 Parkland shootings. One problem, Joe, you weren't the vice president then. Now, yes, all of this happened over just one weekend on the campaign trail as the frontrunner for the Democratic Party was trying to get you to vote for him. I'll play it for you in case you don't believe me. Take a look.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
We got to let them know who we are. We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts.
Words that stun the nation, and I would argue, I know, shocked the world. International leaders spoke about it. You had people like you had people like the former chairman and leader of the party in Germany. You had Angela Merkel stand up and say how terrible it was. I watched what happened when the kids from Parkland marched up to, and I met with them, and then they went off to up on the hill when I was vice president. They went off the hill to go into those neighborhoods. All those congressmen were like, "No, I'm not here. I'm not here. Don't tell them I'm around."
I'll say it again. That right there is the frontrunner for the Democratic nomination for the President of the United States of America. Now, the most shocking part of all is the media's silence on some of these comments. Now, just imagine for a moment if a conservative would have actually said something as racist as what Joe Biden said. His quote again, "Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids." Well, the left and the media would have immediately called for a conservative that would have said this. They would have said he's a racist, a white supremacist, and they would have demanded that he drop out of the race for the presidency immediately. Yet, there's been total silence from the left and the media on this story. That's it for this edition of your AMAC Weekly News. Quick reminder, if you haven't joined AMAC or renewed your AMAC membership, do it now so you can continue to receive this new show and access to our amazing member benefits. You also get your AMAC magazine, and most importantly, AMAC represents you and almost 2 million other conservatives on Capitol Hill every day. So make sure you renew or join today. I'm Ben Ferguson, and I'll see you back here next week for your next episode.